Day in day in the life of a designer. What we're going to be talking about today is the art of storytelling. I hope this actually shows up on the platforms. But yeah, man, it's good to talk to y'all today. Like I said, we're going to be talking about the art of storytelling. Pretty much breaking it down, the different experiences, the different, um, arts, I guess you could say, of how you can build your brand around actually being a master of storytelling. A lot of people, a lot of brands don't, necessarily have the art of storytelling down or even, you know, really implement it into their projects. But at the end of the day, with a solid story, you're selling meaning. You're not selling just a product. A product should be more than just clothes or just, an item. It should be something that actually represents or is relatable to somebody's life. You feel me? My whole thing is that, when I started my brand, Dreams of Rulers, even down to the name, has a story behind it. You feel me? The story with the name is, biblically, Derek means the ruler. So I took the ruler, and since I was always a dreamer, I implemented that into, what my name would be for my brand. You know what I'm saying? The structure is built around, how experienced creative directors and brand strategists, think about storytelling, not, as a marketing tool, but as the foundation of the brand. It keeps the vision in line and keeps the goals on point with the vision overall. You feel me? I just want to welcome all the viewers. I want to, first and foremost say, make sure that you like, make sure that you subscribe to our channel. Make sure that you comment and share our content as well too. So that way, your friends and family can tap in and, so that way you can stay up to date with all of our new releases as well too. So why do some brands become iconic while, others disappear? Primarily it's, they don't, they don't think about the product first. They remember there's meaning behind it. You feel me? Storytelling is what transforms a product into a brand. Every collection needs a narrative. You feel me? And, the main questions are, why does this, product collection exist? What inspires it, what I'm saying, to help people, with their problems? Does it create a solution? Who is it for? What emotions should someone feel when they wear or when they use this product? What conversation does it start? You know what I'm saying? A collection becomes a group of products instead of a body of work without answering those questions. You feel me? Because at the end of the day, like I said, with your vision, when a product doesn't have any direction, when a product doesn't have a authentic meaning behind it, it's just a product. It's just an item. And there's a lot of items out there in the world, tons of items out in the world. So, you know what I'm saying? You got to start thinking from the point of there's a difference between selling and storytelling. You feel me? With selling, it's typical. With selling, it typically sounds like, here's a hoodie, or, buy now. But with storytelling, it's like, this is why I created this product. This is why, I'm doing this. The craftsmanship behind this is this, that, and a third. You know what I'm saying? The inspiration behind everything, the philosophy behind everything, why it matters. For Dreams of Rulers, why I created this brand was because first and foremost, my mom had always inspired me and my sister through hip hop culture and, clothing. We always used to, dress in suits and dresses, her dress, my dresses as far as my sister, suits for myself. And it was always formal wear when we were kids. But as we started to, play and get older, it started to be about more of hip hop culture, but we still were, nice. Clothes were always tailored. And even if we had hand me downs, we weren't, one of those types of kids that sagged their, pants or, wore seductive type clothing. So her motto, as far as my mom, what she would always tell us was, if you look good, you feel good, and if you feel good, you do good. And I just wanted to create expressive clothing that, was original, was for the, culture, and on top of that, inspired positive thinking, positive mindsets within the community. The craftsmanship behind it is important. I like to have, premium fabrics and materials in all the clothing. Everything is organically made. You feel me? That is, a hallmark by what I would like to keep doing with every piece and collection that I put out for the brand. The philosophy is simple. Visualize your purpose. You feel me? Everybody has a purpose on this planet. Some of us, our purposes are more simpler than others. But at the end of the day, we all have a purpose, and we're all here to, service each other in some way, shape, or fashion. You feel me? And why, it matters is because, like I said, when you feel good, you do good. And when you do good, you're able to inspire others and help people more than you ever could know. You feel what I'm saying? So when you invest in people's emotions before you invest in their financials, you're able to actually do things that can change people's lives. You feel me? The next thing is, designers are world builders. They're the creators. You feel me? Not necessarily just fashion designers, but designers as a whole. You feel me? We don't just create clothing. We don't just create products. We don't just create different forms of service, but we create worlds. You feel me? Just for example, a strong fashion brand has a strong philosophy, visual identity, brand identity, consistent language and messaging, characters or archetypes. You know what I'm saying? Community and a long-term vision. Every piece of content should reinforce that world exists on its own rather than, through the creator or just, the individuals that partake. It's important that, it fits different aesthetics and archetypes as well too, and different character types, because everybody is not the same and everybody doesn't have the same exact path. So once you're able to tap into the psychology of how people move, think, experience life, then you're able to actually create a visual identity and even, a long-term, not necessarily just a vision, but a long-term aesthetic for what people will wear or what people will buy. Storytelling typically happens every day. You know what I'm saying? The story isn't only told on the release date or, the first day the collection was thought of. It's told through, you walking, reflecting, driving, reflecting, you going on different trips, going to different, restaurant eating experiences, social gatherings. It's told through, those ideas that you had when you were sketching, those podcast conversations, those interviews, um, those, moments of struggle. Even in the moment of live streaming, behind the scenes moments, your mistakes and lessons, customer interactions, people connect with the journey as much as the destination, you feel me? So if you're not able to tell the journey through the journey, or even, after you done got through certain points of the journey, people are not going to be able to connect with your product at all. They're not going to be able to, tap in and feel some type of connection. It's just like when I dropped Views of the Trap, people felt a connection, even though it wasn't global or, even got a national reception. But different people across the world definitely felt it. You feel me? People tapped into the book. When people read the book, they were able to say, I see where you're coming from. I see where, different, pitfalls are in our community. I feel like, this actually relates to me in some respects. So it's just about creating a vibe, creating a sense of, uh, comfortability for people to come to on a regular basis, whether it be through the clothes, whether it be through a form of poetry or artistry. You feel me? Whether it be through just the product itself, creating solutions and, representing problems that now have a solution. You feel me? Or being a solution is being created. Like I always say on these live streams, people want to hear authenticity. They want the real. And even more now, since people aren't in the frame of mind to use their imagination, we have to be more amped to create that imagination. You know what I'm saying? So that way, solid content is being put out. People are actually getting something from, the products that you're selling. It means more when you actually are doing that. Makes people want to come back. That creates that customer, retention. You feel me? And that's how you get people to constantly buy, the new products, buy, the sequel of products. It's not just about, the quality of a product that brings people back. It's mainly the story that brings people back. It's the quality of the product that, is the icing on the cake. Because if you actually pay attention to, some of the greats, like I've said before, I'm not the greatest Drake fan, but if you look at his numbers, like, bro is probably like one of the most successful artists ever to do it. But at the end of the day, he's probably only got like, out of his whole catalog, 35% of his music that was actually successful. Same thing for Taylor Swift. So that just lets you know you're going to get 1,000 no's before you actually get a yes. You feel me? So that's how you got to approach, your work. You got to be consistent. You got to be disciplined. You got to be focused at all times. Like, you can't let the worldly distractions hinder your progress. Because if you let that hinder your progress, especially on a day-to-day basis, first of all, people are not going to be able to, trust you. Because people trust familiarity. You feel me? Consistency. People trust people that are going to show up every fucking day. People don't want to, tap in with a business and say if they feel like there's a potential possibility of a problem occurring. They don't want to go to customer service and have to deal with not only the problem, but you or, your employees being a problem. So you got to think of it from that standpoint as well, too. You got to tap in with what you're doing and move with a sense of not only urgency, but also strategy. You got to move and have a sense of, philosophy to what you're doing. Everything should be going to a greater good. And that's honestly what, a lot of clothing brands miss out on. They mainly be putting out shit in the sense of quantity instead of quality. And that's what, people actually root for. Quality, you know what I'm saying? They want, high quality products, high quality messaging, high quality, storyline. They want to feel like, the fans of the New York Knicks, they want to have that type of energy with your product. You feel me? And they want to. You just got to, give it to them. And it's a process. It's a day-to-day process. It's not, something that happens overnight. As you hear the real overnight success stories, you hear people say, like, yeah, it took me 5-10 years to get here. You feel me? And even with the, plants, they tell you, bro, it took me like 2-3 years to get here. Like, it's not going to happen overnight, bro. It's a process. And don't get me wrong, you can definitely learn the process very fast because, you're able to, calculate everything better than others. You're actually getting the right information. You're doing the proper research. You're not, listening to the bullshit that everybody else is saying. You have common sense in your approach. You feel me? And that's how, you typically win. But like I said as well, too, the main things is staying focused, disciplined, and consistent. The biggest thing isn't even talent. You feel me? So if you just add that element of storytelling and remember that, your customer has a why too. Your product will always have a why. Your vision will always be aligned with your products. And the engagement will be monumental. Maybe not necessarily at first, but as long as you're clear in your message and you have a clear call to action on everything, and your hooks in the beginning of your content is on point, then people are going to tap into what you got to say. People are going to stay in to hear what you got to say. As long as, it's solid information, you present yourself as an expert, even if you're not an expert, but you present yourself as an expert and your words are solid, factual, and helpful. So, it's just a matter of understanding shit is not as complicated as it seems, but you want to do things with order. Got to do shit organized, you feel me, with a solid plan in place. It's just like how, my one homie, he was like, bro, he was like, why you got 4,000 posts on your Instagram? He was like, I know, you be putting in work, but at the same time, shit gotta be organized, bro. It's like, people not gonna look at 4,000 posts all at once. It's like, you got a point there. So that's what I did today. I literally cleared my whole Instagram page and now only got like 100 posts up on that junk. So that way, you can get a clear sense of where the brand has been and where we're going. And you know what I'm saying? You can tap in with what is actually going on right now. So, like I said, make sure you like and subscribe to our channel. Make sure that you always put a solid plan together, do the research, and execute that motherfucker to a T. Stay focused and consistent with it, and your dreams and goals will come to fruition. Keep visualizing your purpose. I am out.